Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.
It's Joe Pugh for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We're here at the Origin Gym, Rainham, for the media workout of Johnny Fisher. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn. How are you, Eddie?
I'm doing well, mate. It's very warm in here. Did I see you in Greece?
Zante, yeah.
On a boys' one?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was alright. It was alright until Big John come and got me on the dentist chair.
How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
21?
19.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm only 19.
What time to be alive. Zante with the boys at 19. It takes me back to Iron Appa with the boys. How long did you go for?
A week.
I went for 2 weeks to Iron Appa at 19 as well. Great days, mate. Great days. And before you know it, you're 44. So fill your boots, son.
Mate, 2 weeks, you're more hardcore than me, certainly. But we're here, obviously, Johnny Fisher, his first big test, 10 rounds, title fight. Good for him, a good measuring stick on a fantastic card.
Yeah, and a proper fight. You know, Harry Armstrong's been slung in a couple of fights late notice, but he's 6'6", technically very good, clever fighter, tough, durable. And I think this is a fight that's going to give Johnny Fisher rounds, you know, and it's going to be a tough test. They called for this fight. We weren't mad on it because we think it's a very tough fight, but he feels like he's ready, and I believe he's ready as well. But obviously when you've got someone as popular as Johnny Fisher, you want to make sure you don't make any mistakes. But great news for the fight fans that we've got a good, solid domestic heavyweight fight, kind of underneath a massive domestic heavyweight fight as well, and on what will be a massive night, August 12th at the O2.
Is this a case of sink or swim for him? Because it will be the first time that he's got someone who's really coming to win.
It's a bit harsh to say sink or swim, isn't it, when you're putting it on. I think this is something in boxing that we've got to be careful of, is like, we tee up these great risks or these moderate risks with the downside. Oh, if he loses this, he's over. I mean, you're talking about a young prospect, but any loss shows you that you're not at that level. And what we don't want to do is fall short at Southern Area level. You know, it's one thing falling short at British title level or World Championship level, but not at this level, because we think Johnny's well beyond this level. But it's the occasion, it's the 18,000 people at the O2, and I'm buzzing for him and I'm excited for him and the family, but now it gets serious.
And the rest of the undercard, I know we've got Hrgovic and McKean already announced, but when can we expect that announcement?
So you can expect at least one more heavyweight fight, probably two. Obviously we've got Before the Bell on the early stuff sorted with George Liddard, Maisie Rose and Campbell Hatton. And then we're going to have at least one, probably two heavyweight fights, plus Johnny Fisher against Harry Armstrong, plus Philip Hrgovic against Dempsey McKean, and of course Anthony Joshua against Dillian White. So there is a chance that all 5 fights on the broadcast may be heavyweight fights, which wasn't a plan at the beginning, but would be very nice to announce.
At the press conference, Derek Chisora said he will be on the card. Is that a potential option?
I think it's very likely you'll have an announcement soon that Derek Chisora will be on the card. Obviously, 258 are dealing with that with Derek. We'd love to see him on. The fight that he's talking about, I like the fight. I think it's a tricky fight. I think it's a tough fight, but would be a big addition for us, you know, to get Derek on what would be a massive night on August 12th. And
the rest of the schedule, can we expect an announcement imminently?
Next week, you will get an announcement every day. I mean, I'm putting myself under pressure here, but every day of a new show. Starting on Monday with one of our biggest shows of the schedule. We'll have press conferences on Tuesday, and like I said, the plan is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, a show every day, and a couple of big ones in there as well.
Will all of those be in UK and Ireland, or is that stateside as well?
Yes, but there is also, look, you know, we've made Sonny Edwards against Bam. That will be officially announced with the venue and the date. Plus, as well, we're making some big American fights that we hope to announce next week as well. But the plan of the individual days is mainly for the UK shows.
Would Warrington in there?
Could possibly be. We're speaking with the WBA. Lee Wood against Josh Warrington is such a tremendous fight for British boxing. I want to make it. I want to make sure WBA are happy. We're right on the line now to kick that over, and hopefully that can be part of the announcements next week.
How likely is it that that fight would be for the WBA title?
has to be, in my opinion. I mean, look, it's still a massive fight without it, but obviously, you know, it's always a bigger fight when the world title's on the line. And for Josh Warrington, it's actually to become a 3-time world champion. You know, you're going to split an arena with half Nottingham, half Leeds. It's going to be unbelievably electric, and hopefully we can get it over the line for the WBA title. Bosh.
Bosh there. Will we see Conor Benn in this announcement of the schedule announcement?
No, not in the schedule announcement, but the news on Conor Benn has to be imminent. You know, we've waited a long time for the ruling. It's taken an abnormally long time, in my opinion. That's just how everything's played out in this situation. We're very hopeful and confident that he will be cleared by UKAD and he'll be able to box in the UK, hopefully in September. But let's see what comes back from the hearing. He's done everything that's been asked of him. You know, he got reinstated in the rankings by the WBC. Everyone said, no, he hasn't gone through UKAD and the British Boxing Board of Control. He's done that. Let's await the results.
Why do you believe this hasn't been resolved yet?
I don't know. Look, the cynic in me might mean that we missed out by the Eubank fight by a couple of days. Who knows? But look, you know, I think that Eubank and Calla and us as well will be disappointed, because when he gets cleared, which I believe he will, we could have made what would have been a mega fight instead of a much smaller fight in the Liam Smith fight, and that's the one they wanted. But let's see what happens. First things first, let's get cleared, let's return to boxing. If we can do it in the UK, it'd be fantastic, and I'm very, very confident that'll be the case.
What's happening with Jack Catterall?
Jack Catterall would like to fight Josh Taylor. The slot that we have really doesn't enable us to get the venue that we want. So it's very likely that Jack will fight in October, and then I've already reached out to Top Rank. If he can't get a world title fight, I would like him to fight Josh Taylor. I don't mind doing that at catchweight. Sam Jones has made that clear, because we talk about Josh Taylor moving up to maybe welterweight. I believe Sam and Jack would take the catchweight fight. They've been blowing up my phone to make that fight. I just don't think venue-wise we can get it over the line for this one. But what we can do is stay active in a big fight and then work with Top Rank to make that fight, whether it's December or more likely January or February. Hopefully Josh Taylor fancies that fight. He's a tremendous fighter. It'll be an unbelievable build-up and grudge match. That's the plan, but Jack will be part of, it looks like, that schedule announcement next week.
Surely that's the biggest fight for Catterall and Taylor, because the needle is real there.
For sure. But both have got their financial expectations. It's not always as easy as that, particularly if you don't have a venue to make that happen. So I know Jack's a bit frustrated because he wants that fight so bad, but we are talking to Top Rank and we'll see where we go to it.
Sticking with that 140-147 division, O'Hara Davis was announced that he signed with Golden Boy. Your thoughts on that?
Chuff for him.
Yeah.
Lee Eaton's done a great job. We was actually thinking about making a play for O'Hara, and I went through the process with Lee. I knew about the Golden Boy deal, which was massive for O'Hara, and he had to take it. It was like a load more money than we were offering, and life-changing deal for him. And I think he's in a great position. What I hope now is that, and Lee won't allow this to happen, don't get bullied out and pushed aside by some sweet talk to step aside to make Ryan Garcia against Rolly. You're in the spot, you can beat Rolly Romero, go and win the world title, and then cash in against Ryan Garcia for an absolute fortune. I guess that's the plan for those boys. So over the moon for O'Hara. I know we've always had our back and forth, but he's given everything to the sport, and sometimes you don't get what you deserve out of the sport. He's actually hopefully now going to get that and more. So he's going to change his life. Hopefully he can leave the sport with houses paid for and a nice life, and hopefully he can win a world title.
We know the history with you and O'Hara, but are you expecting a little bit more of abuse from Oscar now he's got O'Hara?
Yeah, but I mean, look, I know the money he paid. Fuck me, like he's gone for it with him, and I'm so pleased for O'Hara. So I hope Golden Boy do a great job for him, and like I said, hope OD can go and win a world title. You know, I'd love to see him do it.
I want to get your thoughts on the Maxi Hughes George Kambosos fight. Have you got a chance to see it, and what did you make of those scorecards?
I haven't seen the fight. I've got this weird thing that I do where I follow fights on Twitter. So someone just asked me about Spence Crawford. I said, probably wake up in the morning and go through someone's scorecard round by round and find out the result that way. That's just what I do. And with the Kambosos fight, I can't remember where I was. It was late in the morning. I might have been away, but I didn't have the fight on, but I was following it on Twitter. And everyone was saying 4-0 at Maxi Hughes. Oh, Kambosos won a round. And everyone had Maxi the clear winner. You know, the fight was in Oklahoma. Obviously, the promoters, everybody wanted George Kambosos to win the fight. It's the downside of boxing when, and you know, one thing I hate as well. There's so much hypocrisy in boxing, right? Because when it suits you, people will say, yeah, but regardless of the results, his stock really rose in the fight. It's like, fuck off. That's like winning the lottery and actually not finding the ticket. Do you know what I mean? It's like your stock rises for what? For getting robbed. If he beat George Kambosos, he goes and fights Shakur Stevenson or someone like that for 7 figures. It's been taken away from him. So don't tell me about his stock rising. That's just a line to sort of suppress the situation. And you'll say that in certain situations, and then when it's another situation, it's a robbery. This sport's a joke. So the reality is judges have to do better. You know, it sounds like it was a fairly close fight. Whenever there's a 115, 113, or someone thinks it's 115, 113, it can go the other way. But 3 judges and no respect for Maxi Hughes on the scorecard, plus 117, 111, it's daft. And it shows you that people had their own mind made up going into the fight. You know, sometimes it's not always that it's like a corruption in the sport. I just think some judges sit down and go, well, he's a clear favourite, George Kambosos, in this fight. Like, he's going to win the fight. And you just end up scoring the fight differently to someone else. Whereas if you look at it from a level playing field, I think 99% of people will say Maxi Hughes won the fight. But good luck to George. He's a lovely bloke. Love his dad. But gutted for Maxi, because really feels like a bit of a stitch-up.
Anthony Joshua's comments on Rob Mccracken. What did you make of that? Is it slightly disrespectful for someone who's trained him for so long?
No, I think, look, it's all really come from the Carl Froch comments, and you know, the talk of defence was like a little bit of a jab back at Carl. But obviously AJ felt that he wasn't getting everything he needed from that relationship and moved on. But what Rob did for AJ was, I mean, you know, changed his life. He was more than a trainer. He was a mentor. He was almost like a father figure. And Rob Mccracken is one of the best trainers in the world. He's an absolute solid individual, great man. What he's done for British boxing, you know, on the amateur level, and AJ is unbelievable. Look, I look at it like this. You've got 3 people. You've got Carl Froch, Hall of Famer, legend of the sport. You've got Rob Mccracken, one of the best trainers of all time, legend of the sport, great fighter in his day as well. You've got Anthony Joshua, who's completely changed the face of the sport, great fighter. Let's all respect each other, let's all get along. But, you know, it's Frochy putting the digs in, isn't it? You know, and Froch is Froch. I don't like everything that he said, and I don't like things that other people said as well. So it's tough because I love all those guys. So let's have some unity to move forward with the back end of AJ's career in what is the most important part of that career, August 12th, really, against Dillian White.
I know you're probably in a difficult situation because, as you said, you love all 3 of those guys. But from what you know, did that end on bad terms, that relationship between Rob Mccracken and Anthony Joshua?
Absolutely not. I mean, look, this went on a period of time where AJ brought people in to try and change things and do new things. So maybe someone to work on defence, maybe someone to work on pads. And I think whenever you do that, it doesn't necessarily undermine a trainer, but I don't think any trainer likes that. And it carried on, maybe a fight too long or 2 fights too long. But that's because AJ loves Rob and had respect for him, and in the end it didn't work and it was time to switch it up and change. But never was there bad blood, never was it not on amicable terms. And you know, those 2, I'm sure, will be lifelong friends.
Just a couple more. Fury and Ngannou. Yeah. I know you've got your thoughts on that. I think you said before that you thought it was going to be an exhibition. It's not an exhibition. Just get your thoughts.
I mean, it is really, because it doesn't go on anyone's record. I mean, you can say it does. Does it really? No, I don't believe it does. It's not a defence of the world title. I don't think it goes on BoxRec. So if it doesn't, how is it actually not an exhibition? But, you know, people, as I'm sure you'll do in this interview, sometimes clip a headline and they don't actually listen to what I say. I understand the fight. Do you know what I'm saying? I just feel like if you want to be a true great, if you really care about legacy, and for the benefit of boxing, Fury Usyk should have been made. The fact that it's not made, I don't sit there and go, oh, I can't believe Tyson. It doesn't surprise me at all. But we can't also sit there and say, I don't care about money, I'm just about legacy, I beat everyone, he's a middleweight, blah, 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 and then go and fight a bloke who's never had a professional fight in his life. But it's going to be a big event. People will watch, and Tyson Fury is going to make a nice few quid. So good luck to him. But let's just not trick people about what we're really about. And, you know, I don't blame anyone. It's just he should be fighting Alexander Usyk, and that's all.
If Anthony Joshua wanted to fight Ngannou, would you promote it?
I mean, I asked him the question because Francis Ngannou reached out to me and said, can I fight Anthony Joshua? And I was like, fucking hell. And I met Francis Ngannou, and he was like a really nice bloke, a lovely, lovely man. And I was a bit like, this is a big event. I went to AJ, I said, what do you think? He went, absolutely no way. I went, why? He went, because he's not a boxer. He went, I want to win a world heavyweight title. And I'm not just saying this to pump up, this is the exact conversation. And I went straight back to Francis Ngannou and said, sorry mate, I haven't got anything for you. AJ, not interested. Maybe when he's retired or like who knows what the future holds, but right now he's focusing on becoming world heavyweight champion again, and you're not part of his plans. So if AJ would have come back to me and gone, look, I haven't got a world title shot, I haven't got any big fights, let's look at it, yeah, I would have looked at it. But Fury is the reigning world champion. AJ has no belts, right, and no shot at the world heavyweight title. It's a very different situation. Fury has a man-made opportunity to win the Undisputed Championship, make an absolute fortune, and also go down as one of the modern-day greats. So you would have hoped he would have done that. I understand the other thing. I hope he enjoys it. He's an entertainer. He's going to make a nice few quid. Good luck to everybody.
Spence v Crawford this weekend. Can I get a prediction from yourself?
Yeah. I mean, firstly, obviously, you've got the Spence team, which is really the AJ team as well. And everything I hear is that he's in a tremendous place, tremendous shape. For me, I'll go with Terence Crawford. You know, I think mentally he's got an unbelievable air of confidence and an edge about him. I think Errol has been at 147 probably a little bit too long. I think he has a little bit more damage on the clock, you know, through the car crash, through the retina tear, and a couple of tougher fights. And I think if the fight is boxed at a fast pace, I think Terence Crawford could stop him. But if not, I think he wins on points.
Last one. I think this has a little bit of relevance to you off the back of your chat with your mate Piers Morgan yesterday, and obviously broadcasted DAZN. What did you make of the girl who flashed her boobs live on DAZN?
I mean, look, that's again something that I'll make a comment on, and there'll be a headline. If you actually listen to what I say, I think Kingpin and Mams and Misfits didn't like what I said when I said we've got to kick it as far away as possible from boxing. What I mean from that, I get it. I understand it. It rates. And I think Misfits particularly are very clever with how they put the show together, and it's a high-end production. I just don't like it, and I want to completely disassociate boxing with that. That's an entertainment format that has its place, does well, and then we've got boxing. But you look at what Misfits are doing, like with their, what is it called, their council or whatever, they're trying to maintain that professionalism as well, which I think is important. We live in a world of views and clouts, and so obviously someone knows if I do that, it's going to blow up the internet. That's their job. That's what makes them their money. When we're trying to come to places like this and bring young kids into sport, into boxing, and show them what we believe are role models and heroes, like Katie Taylor, for example, like Anthony Joshua, like Johnny Fisher, it's not the right look for boxing and where we want to be. So it can exist, and good luck to them. We just got to focus on what we do and love, which is the sport of boxing.
You've stepped your toe in that world, you've come out of it, and you can respect the entertainment, but do you feel like what that young lady done was too far?
Yes, I do. Listen, people say to me, well, you did it. I walked away from it. I could have made millions out of influencer boxing. Millions. I didn't enjoy it. I thought Logan Paul is one of the smartest men I've ever met. Great guy. KSI, love him. Not for me. I can't wake up with the same fire in my heart and passion to do something that I just don't. I love boxing. I love seeing great fighters. I love seeing kids coming down to the gym, taking them from pro debuts to world championships on the biggest shows for the great sport of boxing. I've no problem with that. It can exist. I get it. I get the world we live in. I'm also worried about the world we live in. I'm worried about younger people who they can look at and say, I want to be like them. And for parents like me to say, yeah, I like the fact that you look up to that person. Every time my kids have met Katie Taylor, I just sit there and stand back and go, oh, please, give her another hour of this. This is what we need to teach kids about what is important in life and chasing greatness and trying to achieve something.
Eddie, thank you very much for being to IFL TV. See you soon, mate.
Thank you, Jeff.
For the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Conor Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.